Hey guys, welcome back to The Fishing Teacher, and really appreciate you guys coming by the channel today. Guys, we're going to be talking about what I call the floating sinko or the floating Zlinky trick. This is where you're fishing a soft plastic stick bait like you fish a floating worm. I'm going to explain to you guys why this works really good and when the conditions are that it works the best, so you guys how to rig it up here. Definitely think it's going to add up to some nice fish for you guys in the month of May. Also, guys, a couple quick things before we get started here. Just a reminder that Solar Bat has still got their May sale, their spring sale going on with my signature series RB2 and RB3 glasses. During the month of May, you can get them at 40% off, guys. 40% off. If you use the promo code RandyB, you get free shipping and handling. So I'll have the Solar Bat link in the description of the video here. You can also get them through my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of this video too. Appreciate that. And real quick, guys, anybody interested in booking a private one-on-one lesson with me on Table Rock Lake or Stockton Lake here in Missouri, just shoot me a private message on my Facebook page, Intuitive Angling with Randy Blaukat. I'll get you the details, so appreciate that. Okay, a lot of you guys hear me talking a lot about floating worms. They're one of my favorite baits to fish in the month of April and May. April and May are, I fish a floating worm out of, throughout the course of the year. 90% of my floating worm fishing is in April and May. May is a really good time to fish a floating worm simply because, they're coming off the beds and they're, hungry and they're still shallow. But one of the things about it is bass get conditioned to the typical floating worm really quick because all the bright colors, guys, let me show you here. The traditional bright colored floating worms that are, like this right here, you can imagine how a bass gets conditioned to that. I mean, it's very visible, it telegraphs the stuff a lot. So usually what happens, by the time May rolls around, these fish have been conditioned to seeing those bright worms. They still will bite it, but they want a different color and they want a different presentation. So what I figured out through experimentation, because I've been fishing this thing for over 30 years, is what I do is I take a soft plastic stick bait. This is a Zoom Zlinky. I'll put this link in my Tackle Warehouse link in the description too. Take a 2-aught, this is a 2-aught Gamakatsu G Finesse straight shank worm hook, which I'll link in the Tackle Warehouse description too if you guys want to get set up. And take it and you're going to thread it on through the middle of the worm, okay? It's not going to be a Texas rig deal. You want to come through all the way through the egg sac, and you want to come out, see there's the egg sac right there. You want to come out about midway through that egg sac with the worm. And then the key on this thing is you want to leave it crooked like this. This is how you want the worm to look. Crooked just like that. The crook in this thing makes this thing walk side to side like a Zerspook. It'll come through the water like that. And a lot of times, guys that'll fish floating worms, they just dart it around like that. But this one, you can actually get a rhythm going when you rig it like that, and it goes side to side, just like working a spook through the water. And guys, the more natural, translucent looking colors, like the watermelons or the green pumpkins in the Zlinky or the sinko, bass love this thing, guys. You can fish it just like a floating worm. It sinks a little bit faster than a floating worm, but what I do is I'll fish it on a spinning rod, usually with 8-pound test Seagarn Vizex line. I'll usually put a little barrel swivel above it so it doesn't twist your line. It'll help out, foot or so above the thing where it's hanging like that. And just throw it out there, guys, with your spinning rod, and just, look at my spinning rod here, but just throw it out there with your spinning rod and keep your rod tip high and just shake it like that. Get the rhythm going, because once you get the rhythm going, it'll go sideways, but just keep your rod high like that. Keep that bait probably, 2 inches or so, 2 to 3 inches under the surface. Keep it up high in the water column, just working it across like that. And guys, they will come up and smoke that thing. It is a cleaner water bait. You really need to have water visibility of at least around 3 feet. 3 to 5 foot is like perfect conditions for it. Now, one of the things about fishing this particular setup, the floating Zlinky or floating sinko in there, you got to have some shade. You got to have shade or low light conditions a little bit. So my favorite thing is I like to get out there, and the best bite a lot of times is right off the bat in the morning for this, where you still have shade on the water. Run the shady banks, cast the thing underneath overhanging trees that's throwing off shade on it. If you got shade coming off the side of a dock, throw that thing right alongside of a dock. Concentrate on the shade. Now, if you have a day where it's cloudy, which we have a lot of cloudy, rainy days in May, we get a lot of rain in May, perfect time for it. You can catch fish all day long on the thing if it's raining or low light conditions, especially if you got the clear water. So perfect scenario for this thing is like water temperatures around 70 degrees, water clarity around 4 feet, some type of cloudy day, usually gonna make it better, and just cover water with the thing. I like to fish the same type of areas where I think those fish were spawning at. There's still fish that's hanging around those areas and they're real susceptible to that. In fact, some of the best days I've had doing this are places where you can go in and you can see like old beds. There's no fish on them anymore. They're abandoned, but the type of areas where the fish were bedding, and those fish are still there. They're still garden fry. They're cruising, looking for, perch and crawdads in shallow water. They're not leaving. And a lot of times those fish are super shallow and they're super aggressive. And that's just a different presentation, something that they don't see a lot. A lot of people don't fish it a lot. Cast's really good because it's heavier than a traditional floating worm, and it'll catch you some decent fish in the month of May for sure. But best thing that I can tell you guys, the best advice would be just like to get in like a major creek arm of a lake you're fishing, go back into some of the spawning pockets and try to concentrate on the shady banks in those areas. Cover as much water, try to stay in the shade. If it's sunny out, just try to hit those banks that are catching more shade longer, and super exciting way to fish it because you'll see most of those fish get it. And if you're fishing a traditional floating worm or those fish are following it and then they move away and they won't bite it, this is perfect situation for that floating worm, Zlinky or sinko rig. So anyway, give it a try, guys. Think it's going to help you guys catch some. We'll talk later.